Today we're going to be doing intermediate. I'm going to show you traditional grip and I'm going to show you bend. This is Clayton Skinner. Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Beat. Hello there. My name is Clayton Skinner and welcome to Beyond the Beat. In this episode I'm going to introduce you to double bass. So this lesson is going to be a basic, stripped down version for complete beginners of double bass. Not necessarily beginner drummers, but people who are new to double bass. Introducing a second foot, introducing your other foot into playing your bass drum when you're used to only playing with one foot can actually be pretty challenging. So if you know how to play double bass, this probably is not the lesson for you. So if you're new to it, let's carry on. So you'll notice that the first exercise on the PDF, just the top exercise, is actually a single stroke roll played with your hands. The first lesson that I'm going to give you is, or the first idea that I'm going to put in your head is, whatever you do with your hands, you can do with your feet. If you can't do something with your hands, then you won't be able to do it with your feet. It's as simple as that. So we're going to start off, obviously, with a single stroke roll. Single stroke roll is just when you alternate between your left and your right. Now, what we're also going to be doing is we're going to be playing a foot pattern underneath that. So the hands will be playing eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and underneath that we're going to be playing the bass drum on 1, 2, 3, and 4, and the hi-hat on 2 and 4. And we're going to get to this later on. I'll explain while we're doing this. But basically you're going to be doing this two at the same time. So here's an example of the foot pattern. So that was the foot pattern. Now make sure that you're comfortable with that. And then what you're going to do is you're going to follow, play on top of that, you're going to play the single stroke roll. Remember, you want to line your right foot with your right hand, or whatever your lead hand is with your lead foot. And that left hand is always going to be by itself. So here's an example of the whole exercise put together. Now, like I said, there's a reason why we did that exercise. Basically, it goes to show if you can't do that, you probably won't be able to do anything beyond this point. So you want to make sure that you're comfortable with that. The reason that I did that was because it creates a perfect flip scenario. What we're going to do now, the next exercise, is going to be the same exercise. But now what you did with your hands, you're going to be doing it with your feet. And what you did with your feet, you're going to be doing with your hands. So if you remember, your hands were playing the single stroke roll. So that's what your feet are going to be doing. Your hands, your right hand, is going to be playing on the ride cymbal, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then your left hand will be playing on 2 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's going to be the same exercise, but flipped. So here's an example of that. This is the exact same pattern that I played the last time, except now it's done hands and feet reversed. Anyway, take a look. Oftentimes when you try to play with 4 different limbs, it can make counting, if you're not a strong counter, it can make counting very difficult. So that's why I'm doing it in quarter notes, or starting you off in quarter notes. Because it's easier to count 1, 2, 3, 4 than it is to count 1 and 2 and, or 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and. If you're not used to counting that, then it can be quite challenging. So that's why we're doing it in quarter notes and eighth notes. This next exercise we're going to start introducing you to the coordination of playing eighth notes, but we're still going to be counting quarters. What we're going to be doing now is rather than playing the snare on 2 and 4, you're going to be playing the snare on 3. So it'll be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Same eighth notes underneath. So here's an example of that, and try to play along with it. So if you're comfortable with the coordination and the rhythm of that last exercise, this next exercise is pretty much the exact same thing. The only difference is now we're going to work on counting it properly. Before we were counting in quarter notes, now we're going to count with eighth notes. So it's no longer going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. The exact same coordination, the exact same rhythm that you were playing in the last one, except now you're going to be counting what you're doing with your right hand and your left hand, or your hands. You're going to be counting them as eighth notes. So here, give it a try. So now we're going to actually work on the practical side of it. We're going to start introducing it to stuff that we already know, and that is playing beats. So the fourth exercise on the PDF, it's 2 bars. First bar is just going to be a simple beat, 1 and 3 bass drum, 2 and 4 snare. And then what we're going to do is transition into the last exercise, the exercise 3 on this PDF. So what's going to happen is it's important to remember that whatever you're playing, whatever speed you're playing your eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, that you transition into the 16th note double bass smoothly into that, and make sure you don't slow down, speed up, or anything like that. So using a metronome is pretty crucial. I'd actually advise that you try practicing this really slow, like say at about 90 beats per minute on the metronome or on the quarter note. And then maybe ramp it up to try to get it up to like maybe 130, 140, 150. Remember to take your time with this. And obviously you can make whatever the first bar, you can make that beat whatever you want. This is just a simple one. I'd actually encourage you to improvise, whatever. Anyway, practice transitioning between the two. That's what the exercise is about. So give it a try. So now that you're comfortable with those last exercises, you could try playing these exercises whatever way you want. The most important part of the core exercise, of the core lesson in this video, is by playing the eighth notes on the ride and playing the 16th notes underneath them with your feet. What you do with the snare, it's up to you. I don't care what you do with it. You can put it wherever you want, so long as this is going and so long as your feet are going. It's all that matters. Make sure that you use a metronome, always. Start it slow, then slowly ramp your speed up as you get comfortable with this. You're going to want to practice this a lot too. Repetitiveness is everything. You want to make sure that you play this as much as you can so that you develop very clean single strokes with your feet. Everything has to be even. You don't want it to be like dun, 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 because your one foot is stronger than the other. You want to make sure that you're very comfortable with this. So practice is crucial. Well, that's all for this episode. If you have any questions or comments, get a hold of me through the contact section at claytonskinner.com. Or you could just contact me right here on YouTube. So with that in mind, see you next time.